Perhaps not surprisingly, many constituents that I've spoken with have talked about the environment. I think our spectacular natural environment lends itself to an almost automatic impulse to protect and nurture these sacred surroundings. Now, in my opinion, the single most important issue that we are facing as British Columbians is the Peace River Site C Dam in northeastern BC, which stands to devastate our beautiful province. Site C is a $10 billion mega project to build a hydroelectric dam on the Peace River that BC taxpayers, you and I, will have to pay for. Yet this is a project that we do not need at all. BC Hydro's own reports indicate that we will not need any energy from the Site C Dam until 2028 at the earliest. We have here in BC, thankfully, we have here a BC Utilities Commission that is supposed to independently assess these sorts of projects to ensure that they are in the interests of British Columbians and in the interests of taxpayers. This project was taken to the Commission some time ago, and it was rejected, soundly rejected. So the BC Liberal government, they've just decided to exempt the project from the Commission's review and proceed anyways. Now, this project is totally unlawful, and there are many legal challenges before the courts. The government's plan, as far as I can tell, is to delay the court proceedings and push the project ahead, in the words of our Premier Clark, past the point of no return. Essentially, the plan here seems to be that by the time the courts come back and say, no, you're not allowed to do this, they will have already done so much and so much damage that they will be allowed to proceed anyway. Now, all of this is bad, and it should raise red flags. But it gets much, much worse. This project will flood over 30,000 acres of prime agricultural land in the Peace Valley that is some of the most fertile land that we have in this province. It has taken thousands of years for this extraordinary land to develop into the unique geographical site that we experience today. In addition to rich soil, the orientation allows greater exposure to sunlight. During the summer months right now, sun exposure lasts from 3 a.m. in the morning until 11 p.m. at night. Now, there are lower wind speeds and there are longer frost-free periods. This allows for the production of watermelon and cantaloupe in northern BC. This land can feed up to 1 million people in perpetuity. Now, that is to say, more than 20% of British Columbians can eat for as long as we can predict into the future from this Peace Valley alone. And we know how important food security is and will be, not only in BC, but around the world in coming years. Now, this project will flood the land for about 7 years. This land will remain unstable for an additional 30 years. We will never recover the agricultural qualities of the land. Once it is lost forever. The local communities in that region, in the Peace region, are crying out. They are literally begging for this project not to proceed and for this land not to be destroyed. Now, I have not seen one solid justification for this project. We were told it's to meet BC's energy demand, but our energy consumption, residential and commercial, has been declining in recent years, and we are awash in excess energy, and we will be for years to come. So now we're being told that we can sell the energy that we produce on the global market. So in other words, we don't need the energy here in BC, but we're going to ignore the litany of legal challenges, the court challenges, and destroy a perpetual food source for 1 million British Columbians and build the project anyways. Even though we would need to sell the energy at $100,000 per gigawatt hour to break even, and other regional power suppliers are selling at $20,000 per gigawatt hour. This project makes no economic sense on any level either. Now, we've also been told that the project will provide energy to the liquefied natural gas industry, which is a little bit odd because the dam won't be completed for another 6 or 7 years, which would be too late for the proposed LNG plants to depend upon. Now, the LNG plants, that might be delayed. But even then, BC Hydro's own allocation of energy isn't sufficient for their heavy and high energy demands. Notwithstanding these major details, we have to ask ourselves, as taxpayers here in BC, you and I, do we want to subsidize to the tune of $10 billion the LNG industry, which is one of the dirtiest and most damaging fossil fuels that we could possibly engage with? The currently proposed plants will require 50,000 more fracked wells in the region. Fracking in search of shale gas already having caused landslides and contamination of drinking water. The province's own environmental assessment notes that Site C will cause severe and irreversible harm, and the environmental damage has already started. The BC Environmental Assessment Office issued 2 enforcement orders this month concerning waste management violations. What is most important is that this project can still be halted and the environmental and economic destruction avoided. $10 billion will line a lot of different pockets, but this project is not in the interest of British Columbia. Now, the more I've looked into the project, the more I've listened to local members of the community sharing their concerns, I feel compelled into action. It's not too late to stop. But if we lose this prime agricultural land for the purposes of burdening BC taxpayers with $10 billion of additional debt and nothing to show for it, I don't want to look back and say and think to myself that at the very least I didn't do anything about it, or I didn't even try. Now, we can only stop this project. We can only do this together. Noted philosopher David Hume, he observed that force is always on the side of the governed. That's us, the population, the citizens, the taxpayers of British Columbia. This isn't over, and we can do this together. Please visit avneetjohal.ca to sign up and support the nomination bid. Let us prove Hume right, and let's protect our province, our environment, our economy, our food, and our future.